Hey, what's up, everybody? Yeah, audio good. That was an excellent use of the member chat, Large Marge. What's up, Matt Ford? What's up, Blackball? So yeah, as mentioned, if you saw the other video earlier or some of the live streams, but if not, me and Aaron were in Pittsburgh over the weekend because a friend of the channel offered up bikes and bike parts. So have 4 frames and forks. I think more wheel sets than that. So I think there's might be 5 wheel sets. And then around me are boxes of all kinds of other vintage mountain bike parts, even a new front LX derailleur still in the box. So yeah, it was definitely, well, one, we had a good weekend of riding, but definitely worth going and grabbing the stuff. So I was gonna show it tonight. I haven't had the chance to do much research on anything, and only two of the 4 bikes have decals on them, but I figured out what another one is. And I'm sure I can find out more I just need to email the guy again for the one that I have no idea on. But I just been busy since we got back. Anyways, what's up, Jay Dandy, Chris McCollin, Dylan, Muskrat, Blackball, Master Disaster. So, yeah, cool stuff. I went for a little ride tonight and started to think of at least what I would do with a couple of them. But if you saw the Pittsburgh video, like I said, bikes are meant to be ridden, and I have a whole wall of road bikes, vintage road bikes from loving vintage road bikes, and I don't ride enough of them anymore. There's a couple that are sentimental, that are never going anywhere. There's a couple that are new builds and maybe get rid once in a while, but I almost feel like I need to do the thing that I know like significant others make their partners do, where it's like now if one comes in and is going to stay, one has to go out. So I don't know. That's what we'll see. I'm definitely not keeping all 4 of these frames, and there's also already some other bikes here that I want to do something with. But yeah, so decals, yeah, decals as they say in the UK for our UK listeners. Going and grabbing the stuff. This is my kind of party. Yeah, it was interesting because it was well. I'm not going to give away too much information just because the person asked that I don't. They were like, "You can have the bikes. I don't want any like publicity, whatever. I don't know." Basically, like he said, he would enjoy seeing what we do with them, what I do with them, and stuff like that. But an island right outside of Pittsburgh, and guy had him in the storm cellar that he had left him there. He left on the Amtrak and then rode his bike to where he lives now. His goal was he had the bikes all packed up. So I unpacked them all, but you know, like it's packed up like you would to ship bikes, like handlebars taped down and, you know, and then other boxes of components, but then said it's cost prohibitive, obviously, to ship 4 old mountain bikes across the country. So never did it, and was like, said he's never coming back to Pittsburgh to get them or try and sell them. So that's how I ended up, that's how this all ended up happening. So where was I going with that? Just telling the story, I guess. But yeah, really like a classic storm cellar, like where the basement's not connected to the house. You go out back and you open it up and just pulling out all these boxes. And we got 2 of the boxes into Aaron's car and then stacked the other 2 frames and then had extra wheel sets and boxes of parts and cables and everything all over the rest of the car. We actually, I think it's because like a dusty and, you know, maybe tiny bit of mold on the cardboard, sneezed the entire way home from Pennsylvania. So, but when I woke up the next morning, I was clear as can be. And then when I started unpacking the bikes, I started sneezing again. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. But what's up, Whiskey 6? Raymond, Charles, how's it going? Bradley, Sam, what's up? Yeah, I know a lot of people love Industry 9 stuff, but the chat would be better for it just because I've never used it. The reputation is super high for Industry 9, but just not something that I only like to comment on stuff I've used, not just stuff I know about, but never heard a bad thing about it so far. What's up, Reliable Waste? Great way to test the car's shocks. Well, Yeah, Aaron has a Subaru, and it's one of the bigger ones now, so I'm probably fine. It would have been more interesting if we had put it all in my Toyota Matrix, that's for sure. Hey, Pudgy, remember when you used to show up every time instead of once or twice a month? There was also a global pandemic going on then, Pudgy. So, but I've been at least once a week. I'm once a week. What's up, pumpkin pie guy? Yeah, let me show you I'll still chat. I'll put the chat up on the big screen so I could see it wherever I go. How do I get rid of that? But this is haven't been drinking as much, of course, than I drank in Pittsburgh. Had a beer last night, and I'm drinking tonight. But this is an Alpha Ambush by Fatheads. And the reason I could focus if you're regular around here is because I put the R5, my good camera, on tonight, so I could zoom in with the zoom lens, focus on the bikes and all that kind of stuff. Gotcha, Pudgy. Yeah, but I'm not going to hold off for suspense. I put what I think is the most interesting bike, and the bike everyone would be the most interested in on the stand first. Like I said, Deere's packed up, and I threw a set of Specialized wheels that were in there on here. I probably need to brighten this up a bit, huh? Yeah. So this is a Specialized Stumpjumper. Like I said, I haven't had the chance to do a bunch of research yet, and there's no decals on here. There is, I saw a serial number, but I haven't had the chance to look at it yet. But yeah, this one, it has Specialized bars. Even the seat clamp is Specialized. So, but I looked up a number. I can't find I think this is original paint because it's been touched up, but I haven't been able to find this color. And I believe it's kind of like, if you look up me and Yonder were looking at the shop today, the 92s, and it would have had a couple decals that cover up the fade here. So I believe it's early 90s, but I'm not sure. The dropouts are Tange, however it's pronounced. And one thing that might give away closer to the year is that the front of the forks have that kind of lugged dropout. Let me see if I could get some focus on that. So that's what I've been looking for. I found a good website that I'll show you guys, but the photos aren't clear enough to pick up like tiny little details of that. But I don't know if you could tell over the internet, but it's got those little like lugged construction. Hang on. Sorry, my tripod is 100 years old. That's an exaggeration. It's probably about 50. So yeah, that's one thing that I think will indicate when this bike's from. I don't know how reliable Specialized serial numbers are, so maybe if we could read a serial number. But components, like I said, can't really judge it on that, but it does have Specialized bars and seat post. The stem is Shimano, but I just threw the cranks and the wheel set on here from the box because there was a box, tons of stuff. The cantilevers, Shimano SLR. The derailleur was on here. It's a Deore XT, but again, I wouldn't judge this stuff based on componentry because, you know, even though out of all the bikes, this seems to be the one that probably has the most original stuff, and I think the original wheel set is probably in here in the box. This rear one's a bolt-on, so even though it's a Specialized rim, I don't think it would be original to this bike. And yeah, they made two. So from my research, they've made two. They made two levels of the Stumpjumper with Tang or Tange, however you pronounce it, and Prestige and the cheaper one, the cheaper version of Tange, before they go down to Specialized's own cheaper tubing, and they go all the way up to, who was it? They use another brand's tubing that's like their top end, which I think would be their team Stumpjumpers. Someone probably knows more than me about this. This is what I've been reading. So lifting up the frame when I had nothing on it, it doesn't feel as light as my Team Marin, so I don't think it's like the highest end tubing, Japanese tubing, because I could just, it sure felt like there was a weight difference, but I'm not 100% on that. But I found, so this is the website I found. That I thought for sure I was going to be able to identify it from. So this is a website that has like all the catalog photos of, let me make this a little bigger, all the 90s Specialized bikes. What the heck, why aren't you? Oh. Nope. Why won't it let me make this bigger? Huh. That's weird. I do know what I'm doing. But regardless, so this is every single rigid, specialized Stumpjumper, rock hopper. But like I said, like you won't be able to tell on the internet. But when I zoom in, the pictures aren't big enough to really tell what the dropouts look like. But there isn't one that looks in this color, this colorway. But I doubt this would be 80s, but maybe there's a slight chance it is an 80s one. But I do feel like this is original paint, like I said. So it'll take a little more research to figure out what it is. The rear of this one looks closer than anything else, but he did say there was a Stumpjumper in there, and so even that one being close in paint, I don't think is it, because I do believe this isn't a rock hopper. Let's see what. Oh, Matt said maybe the front is a respray. I don't think so, but it could be. But even where you look at where the there was that yellowing when I zoomed in, I think that's just from the touch-ups, because there's like a clear coat something over it, but I could be wrong. The rear definitely does not look like a respray. When you see it in person, there's like sparkles and stuff like that up close. It just does not look like a rattle can job. Where here, where you see that yellowing, there's a chance, but I think that's just where the touch-up paint has like faded the edges of the white, or discolored the edges of the white, because everywhere there's that yellow, it's got a clear coat stuff on it. So I don't actually think it is a base color or a primer. I think it's actually whatever they use to cover up to keep it from rusting has discolored the white paint. But you can't, oh, I have it too zoomed in, but maybe I could split the difference between where my legs, my sciatica's hurting me, so I can't stand all night. But yeah, see what everyone's saying. Oh, Pudgy said, you don't think the decals were peelable then? So maybe it is a full respray? Huh, possible. It seems weird that it would be resprayed and then touched up like this though. So there's like touch-ups in like spots where there would be heavy wear, like where the brakes might have rubbed here, down here on the dropouts, and where the fender mount and racks go. But Yonda said something about that too, that the decals wouldn't be that easy to take off on something like this. So maybe it is a full two-color respray, but yeah, flip it upside down here in a second and see what I could see on the serial number. What's up, Permasleep? Are you saying that's what we should do with this guy? New bars, front rack, wall basket, and big fat tires? Tonge? Jay Dandy said, I asked Yonda, by the way, today how it's pronounced, and he's usually so on top of that stuff, and he said it two different ways, so it didn't help me at all. But I know you guys have told me before, but I never remember. Nerds. Jay Dan, of course. Oh, yeah, I'll drop you that Specialized site, because I actually emailed it to myself from, it's a broader website, but I'll drop you the Specialized link, and then you could back out to the full website if you want. So Bike Rebuilds is the full website, but this is their. I'm sure this is a popular one with everything that's happened with Vintage Specialized over the last, you know. This is so much nicer than when you have to click through the vintage catalogs, where any bike nerd knows you find the vintage catalog and then you're trying to click through page by page. Here they just have it all laid out with the full build specs. So they've kind of taken the catalog, given you the picture, which of course could be better, but hey, it's better than, I think for most people, you're going to figure out what you're looking for by the paint job, since they're all so unique on these old Specialized bikes. I feel like this 92 and this paint job was one that I saw everywhere when I was growing up, and people still have in their garage. There's a couple like that. Yeah, this one, obviously. Is this the one Party Size has? No, he has a Stumpjumper, not a Hard Rock, right? Anyways. Eduardo, you think it is a respray? All right. I don't have another Specialized, well, I have a Stumpjumper M2 hanging on the wall over there, which would be a slightly different era one, and someone has stripped the front, so I don't get as good an idea of what Specialized paint would look like, and it's covered in stickers that I haven't peeled off yet. Yeah, maybe it is. I mean, maybe Specialized would have clear coated it more. I'm kind of like Pudgy saying though, but maybe, or someone else said, maybe they resprayed the front and not the back. I don't know. It's weird to touch up a respray though. Has there been enough years that you would do that? How about some autofocus, bud? Come on. What's this thing doing? Like I said, I do have the source to go to also, so I don't know when he bought these bikes or what condition he had them in, so it'll, like he got them in, or if he had them since the beginning, but there might be information there too. Eduardo said, kind of looks like 80, 89. Yeah, I was looking at those ones that have the dual color with a couple blocks of color right here. I don't have that on screen. And this camera isn't focusing. Why? Don't give me trouble. Put the expensive camera on here for a reason. Yeah, if you've seen the ones that have like the, come on, you fucking piece of shit. Yeah, there's a couple blocks of color on them right here and right here, which I think covers up the fade, and it looks like one of those era, but face select is off. For what reason? What reason would it be off? I didn't turn it off. There we go. Wow, this thing is doing horrible. It's in focus on my camera, but not on... No. Anywho, worry about it later. Pudgy said for the name of the steel tubing, Tanguy or Tangy. Okay, that's kind of what, I think that's what Yonda was saying too. Eduardo, you have an 89 Stumpjumper competition. All right. Yeah, I know. Live stream with Canon's ruins their app. It's weird though. On my Canon screen, it's in focus. It's on the live stream screen that it's like not. So different than the usual troubles I have. I don't know what's going on tonight. Just lie to us. We like to be sleuths. Kevin said there's an 88 Stumpjump comp model, red, white model. Yeah. This, I know it's probably hard to pick up on. This is going to piss me off so bad. I'm sorry, guys. When you're, what you do for a living, you kind of want it to work for some reason. Yeah, it just won't do anything now. It is something with the live streaming because I never have this problem shooting this thing in real life. So it's not the other camera, it's something with live streaming, I guess? I don't know why. When we started doing this originally, it was never a problem. But there it's in focus. Now focus here. Let's see. Yeah, it just won't do it. I don't know. Huh. It's supposed to be like the most expensive autofocus system ever at the time it came out, but what's up, Permasleep? Purple white? Let's look up an 89. Let's see if I could Google an 89 or 8. What you said, 88. Yeah. See if I find it. Do you remember, I was thinking of this when I was trying to do some research on these bikes earlier, and something else a couple weeks ago. Do you remember when you used to like Google something and like information is what you got instead of like 5 pages of sales? It drives me crazy now. I'm like, man, it is so hard just to get like information. I don't want to watch a video. I'm not trying to be sold something. I'm trying to use the internet for the internet's sake. But yeah. See if any of this stuff has photos. These are old forum threads, which I find a ton of information from, but they don't necessarily do me any good when I'm trying to identify something. That one does no good. Try an image search with this. Wait, I put in the wrong year, didn't I? Or did you say? Yeah. That's part of the problem. Yeah, so this is definitely the kind of paint scheme I think it is, but this isn't the right one. But I see that full size, please. It's like I was saying, I was wondering if those are decals that cover up where the fade is, but where'd the one I wanted to look at go? That's a little more purplish, at least judging from that picture. Oh yeah, these things, they don't let you look at photos unless you're like a member or whatever. Let's see, where are we? ChatGPT. It's interesting, I've been watching a lot about that lately, but yeah. Bicycle Dad, what's up? Oh, you got an 820 hardtail. I haven't used DuckDuckGo, I'm aware of it. Oh, there is a red and white one, which originally I thought this was red and white, but I didn't have enough of the lights on. But nah, I was going to say it could be faded, but that definitely was never red. So. What do the 87s look like? think I'll flip it upside down and see what the, if the first two numbers of the serial number sound like a year, because not guaranteed, but from researching vintage bikes forever, I have found that, or we have found, that a lot of times there is that 2-digit number that's pretty easy to get an idea from. Huh. 88K are the first two numbers in this one, so maybe it's an 88 respray. That would make sense, right? I haven't been alive forever. I'm going to guess it says 88K. This is an 88, but yeah, let's look at some other stuff. We'll be back to all this stuff as I talk about builds. With this one, I guess what I'd say is with this one, my first inclination is to just build it up with parts that came with the stuff and ride it a little bit, just because I want to try out riding this one. And then passing it on to someone who will use it. So make a couple videos riding this bike, maybe with an original setup, but you know, weird. The focus thing is so weird to me. I don't see why it'd be an issue, but yeah, like I said, like a conversion down the road, or if someone else wants to convert it and put money into it, is probably a better idea, just because I have so many vintage bikes with money put into them. But yeah, I think just because I have all the components, and also, you know how like the little things that add up so fast when you even try and like fix up an old bike. There's stuff like this here. So, you know, cables and housings. So there's little things that'll make it like so much easier to. So why will it do that? It could understand that should be in focus, but not my face. But yeah, so like I said, an easy one to set up, pretty original, and ride it around a little bit, and then do another project, or let someone else do another project with. They could take it and then do something with the parts, you know. But that's my thoughts, initial thoughts on this one. Is it's worth maybe making a. Because the Stumpjumper has some interesting history, as it's the first mass-produced, considered the first mass-produced mountain bike. They have a 1981 in the Smithsonian, so yeah, cool thing for the channel maybe to cruise around on a little bit. Yeah, I'm wearing the wireless mic so I can move around and not have to not be able to talk at all. See what we got. So this one, see if this camera will let me do what I want it to do. No? We'll just manual focus then? Huh, now it turned off. Did you guys lose camera? I can't see, I'm behind the camera. No. Now I've lost my screen. Weird. So yeah, it's not going to do anything strange. I can't even manually focus now? No, my screen's gone. This is wild. I've never had anything work this bad. All right, turning this camera off and back on while we chat. So this bike is an Alpine Stars, which I was completely unfamiliar with this brand. So now it won't even turn on. Man. Give me a second. There we go. Oh, reliable waste. I'll have to remind me of that in a minute. Says vintage 89 specialized hard rock comp on eBay has the same paint. Well, let's check that out before so I don't forget. Well, that's definitely close. If those are, if the blue bits are decals that could have been removed, I would say that's probably it. And I was just kind of barking up the wrong tree by looking at the see if the fork is lugged. Nah, see, it's a different fork. So maybe, but not definitive. Anyways, good guess. It's the closest I've seen. It's not like the fork couldn't have been changed at some point either, but. Let's see. So Pudgy, so I did some research on this one. So the company that makes the apparel and the motocross stuff is not, there's a relation, but they're not the same company. So this company took their name from that company. That company still exists. This was a company called MS Racing, and it's two Garry Fisher employees met up with an investor, started a mountain bike company, named it, I think, MS Racing. Yeah. So I'll drop a link to this for anyone who wants more nerdy stuff and not just to hear me regurgitate it. But so in like 1990, then the one partner dropped out. They went and met with the company that still exists called Alpine Stars. And the daughter of the owner was like, why don't you just name the bikes Alpine Star USA? So it's an American company with the name from an Italian motocross who distributed them, I guess, was what it was. They were the distributors. So they made these bikes with these funky chainstays that mostly got recalled and that some people say sunk the company. Where are they? I'll find a picture of one. So these are kind of what they're Alpine Stars, you know. Not Alpine. It wouldn't be, whatever. But yeah, I've never heard it said out loud. This is the first one I've ever seen. Oh, Eduardo, you have one. You said with the elevated chainstays. So I guess on the aluminum ones, they're famous for cracking because the way the bottom bracket doesn't have that extra thing of support. And again, this is like just my recent research. They only existed till 96, I guess. But I guess even the steel ones were super wobbly down there. And I've read a bunch of forums when I had the chance, which is kind of interesting. This one, all the information I could find like shows all the model names and everything up until 94. So I'm guessing this is one of the 95 or 96 models, but it's oversized aluminum 7005. But this is the other bike that I think is the interesting because of the brand, and the brand history seems kind of interesting. I don't know, Pudgy. The Bontrager stuff I pulled out of the box and stuck on here, so I'm not 100% sure this is the crank that went with this bike, but it could be. I would guess they wouldn't have had the bars that high on the original ones, right? You know. But there is other stems and stuff like that in here as well, so. Same with the wheels. The wheels don't mean anything. They're just the ones I threw on there, so. Oh yeah, that's right, Eduardo. You did send a picture of yours to the Discord, and it went in one ear, and I look at so much stuff, I kind of forgot about it. But a couple interesting things. I think that the routing here is cool. How they have like a, it's actually screwed on, and all three of the cables go back down the side of the bike, and it's kind of a bolt on in both spots here. An interesting bridge for the hanger, which is kind of cool, like a circular one. But this is. No, this is not a Rolf. The rear wheel is a Joytech. So I think the spokes say they're Vueltas, right? Vuelta XRP, yeah. But again, these wheels, I'm not sure are the ones that go with this bike that I pulled out of the box. Just like with the Specialized, I have pictures of these bikes before he tore them down, so I could go back and see what they were. Like this one is the front one I threw on here is, oh, this is the other Specialized rim that was in the box. It does have a number, but yeah, most of the hubs on, almost all the wheels, the hubs are different levels of Deore that came with the wheel sets. But again, I threw these on just to get like, this place was a mess. As you can imagine, I have a million bikes already. And then to bring in 4 boxes of bikes and bike parts, so I kind of just set up this one in the Stumpjumper to have like space. So, oh, that's why you said that this was a common lacing pattern on some Rolf wheels. Yeah, Vuelta's like a real budget wheel brand, aren't they? Because I have some Vueltas that were really affordable with bladed spokes that I put on my Roger Rivieri. So, no idea on the original fork, Eduardo. I did find a photo online, and one looked like it did have a chrome fork with the gold. I only found one picture of this. This is an AL 900. Usually there should be another letter before the 900. Their naming scheme is really easy to understand. Like the L means that it had Deore LX as the group set.
Master of Disaster super chatted $1.99.
Oh, thanks, Master of Disaster. Did Vuelta make stuff back in the day? I didn't. I have no idea about the history of the company. I bought a set off a budget website to build like a cheaper build up, but I didn't know a lot about what they did. I didn't know they did OEM stuff. So, but again, this can't judge this bike by the wheel set because I don't know which ones came on this. Like I said, I found one picture of this exact bike, and it did have the chrome looking fork. So I believe the fork is original, but anything else I can't say. And except the seat post, because the seat post is branded Alpine Stars. I would highly doubt this is an original stem. What's the headset? Yeah, it felt like the history of this brand's kind of interesting. A brand that it existed longer going back in time, the brand names, the two different brand names they had before this name and after this name still exist in other ways. But yeah, so something that'll be fun to research, so maybe it's worth doing a video about. But this is a bike that, being that it doesn't have the raised stays and it's probably a little safer and it's not a super heavy aluminum bike, would be good to get to somebody who wanted to ride it for whatever. But yeah, no plan with this one. Pudgy, I was asking, since I'm not a vintage mountain bike expert, I was kind of trying to, I don't have the, like how I know road group sets by Shimano, like the exact order of how good they are. I don't know with like Deore, like the exact pecking order, and it's something I need to look up because it'll help me when I'm looking at bikes, you know, at flea markets or garage sales. But yeah, between like, you know, LX, XT, XTR, like what order those go in quality, because yeah, it seems like every Deore is just like the mountain bike stuff from back in the day. So SLX, LX, yeah. So are SLX and LX higher than the XT and the XTR sets? Reliable way so we could just LD stems are after 10 o'clock. Jay Crazy, thanks. Yeah, I think Jay Bird, this is something that like, you know, my aluminum mountain bike from 2001 is my snow bike, but there's something that this bike should be on the road. It doesn't, you know, I wouldn't pour $1,000 into it, I don't think, but it's like a unique kind of little piece of mountain bike history that someone should ride as, you know, great trail cruiser or whatever, right? I think you're right, Mono Lake. This definitely would have had, and I think in one of those boxes there might be the original stem for this bike, because there's, the other bikes don't have original, the other bikes, the two of them have original stems, I think. Let's see if this is, no, not this one, there's a black one. This is more of like a quill stem style, but there is a stem. Oh, here I think it is. I'll put the camera on me. We'll go through one box of components and then we'll switch to the next bike and then look at another box of components and you guys can tell me what's what. That's good enough. And there's autofocus. So yeah, he had all the skewers attached in some way that went with the bikes. So let's see if there's a name on this one. Oh, so this is actually a specialized stem, but I'm thinking this bike would have had something like that more, right, originally with the, is that a Canty hanger right there? Yeah. But yeah, it would have been something more like that for sure, right? Let's see if this is a branded bottle cage, because there are some branded bottle cages like from manufacturers in here, which some people might care about, some might not. Oh yeah, I wanted to read what the vintage progression was, Pudgy. Vintage is SLX, LX, XT, XTR, worst to best. Okay, gotcha. Now it's Deore, SLX, XT, and XTR, so. This unbranded brake lever, we got here. Shimano shifter here. Let me set stuff down. See if we could get this. This was working before I went live, of course, like absolutely perfect. Which is, that's what makes it so frustrating, as you could imagine. But yeah. Does this one, it has a, no, that's just to tighten it. I thought it might be one that switches between indexed and non-indexed. Oh, it's ratcheting. It's a ratcheting. Here's a front Shimano shifter. There we go. Look at it now. Now it understands. More quick releases. This one has some Diacomp cantilevers. These kind of have a cool shape to them. Let's see if I can get that to come in. Yeah, I just need to get my eye out of there. Now it doesn't want to do it. It only wants to autofocus on stuff that has black in it. But this one's a Deore XT. Let's see if that's true. No? Just nothing. Just do it, you dumb. Yeah. Yeah, more, just a bunch of canny stuff in here. Excuse me. Deore XT front derailleur for oversized tubing. So this one would be for an aluminum build. Excuse me. I think all this old stuff's going to make me start coughing again. Yeah, there's all kinds of little crank bolt covers and yeah, other little stuff in here to be sorted through. Oh, let's see it. Come on. Pulley, it's a label for some extra pulleys. A company from California. Shimano DX was another 80s and 90s group set. Yeah, then when did like the Olivio stuff come out? I have some Olivio stuff in here as well. But yeah, derailleurs just for days. Here's a, come on. My stupid leg. See if I could. I put all the rear derailleurs together. Let's see if I'm off camera, if it'll. No. Man. If it worked like this for my job, I would throw this camera in the trash. Yeah, here's a DX. Come on. Just focus, you dumb fuck. Yeah, I think I could make this do it by. Yeah, XT. Just need to do it like that. This one, the nameplate's wore off, but it's got a model number on the back. Another DX, but a different era, you could tell. That's what we got. Another XT that's a slightly different XT. And what's this guy? Oh, an XT front derailleur. So yeah, as you can see, like, man, vintage mountain bike builds. I've got it covered right now. You guys. At least my audio is good. Thanks, Dylan. Jaybird, you said you have a 95 Giant Rincon, all steel chrome. It was made in Taiwan before Giant got Giant. Put Deore LX on all of it. Budget build, but classic and tough. Yeah. Like Nirvana. Pudgy said, buy your Chinelli so you could get a new Florida man. Hey, what's up, Jose? From Lima, Peru. Nice. I almost said Lima because there's a Lima, Ohio. It's clearly named after Lima, Peru, but we pronounce it like that. So, of course, because we're Americans. Olivia is generally more OEM stuff like Tiagra or Clears. Gotcha. I have a long cage Olivia derailleur I put on something that's great because it had such a long cage, so I was able to use it to update like a vintage bike with more gears. But Pudgy, you need one of the XT derailleurs. That'll probably be all right. Like I said, I definitely want to put one on the Specialized, but yeah, there were more than one in there, right? Yeah, Chris, right? This is a bad score for a bike hoarder. We've talked about these. I've had one of these somewhere, but this was just in the box randomly too. Come on. Why does God treat me like this? I have zero patience for this kind of not working. Oh, yeah. Did I accidentally zoom that in? What the hell just happened there? What is going on? I've never seen this happen in my life. A digital zoom? Oh, it shows it. I didn't know it would show that on the screen. Use that for autofocus on a camera, but let's see if it'll do it now. No, but yeah, so whatever that stem is. Oh yeah, then, so we looked at derailleurs. Oh, there's another one here that's taken apart that could probably be rebuilt. I think there's enough pieces. This one's an XTR, and I think the parts to make this one go together are around there somewhere, or around here somewhere, so. There we go. I just got to use the touch screen on the camera. So yeah, I think there are extra pulleys and all the parts to rebuild this XTR derailleur. So Mono Lake said, bullseye pulleys were aluminum with sealed bearings. I had them on all of your bikes. They were great, not available any longer. Huh. Yeah, I'll have to see. Hopefully they're in a box somewhere around here, not just the name. But I hope our bud isn't just sitting in the chat dying to say what everything is, but he doesn't want to be revealed. Make a fake name if you are. So. Ranao, you said you saw a Stumpjumper on Facebook Marketplace in your region. Really tempting. Uno is cheap stuff. I thought you said that, Pudgy. I couldn't remember, because I think I have another stem that I was thinking of using on something, and you told me that. Yeah, it's weird so looking at some Stumpjumpers, they're like outrageously expensive now because they become popular for the gravel bike conversion thing and all that. And the paint, like that look of 90s stuff is so in style right now. And they are great platforms to build up whatever you want. But if there's a good deal on them, I think it's worth it. But, oh, Pudgy, you want dibs on the XTR? All right. The XTR is all yours, Pudgy, because I don't want to work on rebuilding derailleurs. Did you say it was over 70 in the chat? That's never happened before. Oh, let's look at there's crank sets. So like I showed you, I put two on already. So there's the Bontrager Race right here. I'll show it real quick in case anyone is new. And again, I don't know that this is original to this bike. I threw it on there to just... And then on the Specialized, I threw a triple Deore. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but... So see what we got here. Some of these I'll have to, oh wait, I put that camera way too high, huh? Some of these I'll have to look up model numbers to know exactly what we're looking at, if it matters, or if I'm just going to put on something that we're going to sell anyways. But yeah, so here's a Deore triple. Obviously what would have been on so many mountain bikes. This one is a Holotech. I think a Holotech version 1, because right, they came out with Holotech 2, but yeah. that won't focus. You can still see my face back there. But yeah, where's the other? Here's a Shimano. It doesn't say which one this was, but it has a model name on the back. FC M730. And this one has BioPace chain rings on it. I'm going to set this stuff on the ground and then trip so hard when I go to get up. But yeah, this one is I don't know what error this is, because look how different the Shimano is still etched, which I think is kind of interesting. Let me see if I could get some focus so you could start some light angle so you could see it. But yeah, it's an etched Shimano logo. So, and this one is a 48, 38, 24, which is kind of a cool triple for me. Let's see what we get. And I do have all the opposing, all the old non-drive side. Okay, so this one's a Tourney XT, which these were cheaper stuff. Were these touring stuff or actual cheaper stuff? I can't remember. I thought Tourney stuff was real cheap back in the day, but you guys will know better than me on that. See if we get it, yeah. Obviously, I think the rings on this one have been replaced. They actually look really nice, but Takiji, yeah. I already gave you. Oh, yeah. I already gave you the nuke-proof hub, Pudgy. Yeah, the non-drive side cranks, Tourney XT. Oh, this one's a Sugino Impel. Yeah. I do have another hub. Yeah. This one's more reasonable mountain bike gearing, with the 42 being the biggest ring. So. Tourney is touring stuff? Yeah. Hi, what's up, Dean? Said old cranks. Knee saver, BioPace. Joe, what's up? Joe said that was an XT. The XT was the one with the etching in it. The 5-arm cranks are the 7-speed ones, 110 BCD. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah, so there are two.
Pasco Wind subscribed to the channel.
Thanks, Pasco Wind. Okay, so yeah, this Deore is one of the 4, and then these two were the 5s. So good to know. I should, because now I have quite a collection of cranks that have come off other. I have road cranks. It's nice to have some mountain bike cranks, but vintage road cranks for days. French road cranks, and then so. I thought this was bent at first, but this must be a smaller BioPace because I lined it up with the 5 and it still works. So there's a bunch of the, oh yeah, different size BioPace rings. So, well, I won't get that to focus because my face is going to be in it, but you could see the shape. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. Yeah, BioPace 28. So BioPace 48. More rings than you could shake a stick at. So. Yeah, here's the big one, the big couple, but. Yeah, you can see the 48 BioPace, maybe. Yeah, some people on the channel I know swear by the stuff. They absolutely love it. So I think Who was too also Obsolescence used to watch the channel. I think he was a big BioPace guy. Oh yeah, here's another BioPace ring. A 28. You know what I was stoked on? There was a bunch of these in there. And these are so great for vintage bikes when you're trying to like, it's shifted out of focus when I did this, but yeah. When you're trying to put racks on vintage bikes and stuff like that, those always come in handy. All right. Yeah, let's look at another bike before we, because there's still more boxes of components. And then I actually already took racks off a couple of them. I left them on one, but so there's a bunch of racks. But less interesting, right? Oh, you did, Pudgy, yeah. Yeah, let's grab another bicycle. The one that has no name on it, if the guy who gave it to me doesn't know what it is, I'll drop close-up pictures in the Discord, and then maybe someone could help identify it. It has some very identifiable characteristics, but we'll save that one for last.
Joe Scordo subscribed to the channel.
I did not pull the seat tube out of this one yet to be able to put it in the rack the proper way, but so this one is a Garry Fisher Gitchy Gummy. From the research I've done, I believe it's a 2000, and so I think that would make it a Trek, right? I only found one, again, back to my rant about websites not giving you information anymore. The one website that had information on it said it was a cheap high-10 bike. So if anyone has any different information than that, let me know. But the information I found said this is just is nothing fancy at all. It still had, okay, so and again, we can't judge by components. People could have changed them out. Deore LX cantilevers. The front derailleur looks like it's, that's a different style. Like lower there. It says Shimano Deore XT on the front derailleur. So let's see if the brakes match. Yeah, and the brakes do match. There is a serial number. This one does still have a crank arm on it. Let's see what the crank arm is. Shimano Deore, yeah, so. Yeah, I don't know if anyone has any, let me move this, different information on this guy. The one, like I said, the one website I found said that this was a $300 bike in 2000. So Deore XT quick release here. Again, that doesn't really mean anything, but yeah, so this is the one, like frame-wise, I was kind of interested in because he said this is on the upper end of medium. I think this is on the upper end of, this is just big, which would be something that'd be in my size. But so, like as I was mentioning earlier, thinking about like what I would do with these bikes, my buddy Eric has been asking me to build him a bike for a while, and I'm like thinking one of the vintage road bikes around here, even the one we tore down that my buddy Carl sold me. But I'm like, man, for someone who just wants to ride around, like to have a bike with index shifting, this bike would fit him. I think this might be more the speed to build up for my buddy Eric. He lives in Boston now, but they're planning on moving. Because also, I feel like if I told Eric to put a U-lock on this, he would still leave it up outside of a store. So I do want to know that it's not of a lot. If it is on the lower end, that would make more sense, like make it really great riding, but you know, see what you guys say. So Pudgy said $300 bikes didn't have XT and 2,000 bikes didn't have Canties. Okay. So that bike, have you guys, maybe you guys have done research. There's a website called Know Your Bike, and it said this was a 30-pound, which it doesn't feel like, 2000 Garry Fisher, and that it was $300 new, which I was like, $300 new? You know, my Trek 4900 a year later, which is not a super fancy bike, was still, you know, a little shy of I think, what, $700-800? So Ed said the front trailer isn't stock. Max, you like bikes with wheels better. Fair enough. Again, Pudgy, so it's hard to say, we don't really want to judge the bikes by the components because we don't know. Let's see what is up front though. Yeah, so this has grip shift on it, but again, that doesn't mean it's original to the bike. Oh, and you guys said there was some decent grip shift at some point anyways, but so this has 7-speed grip shift on it, but again, that doesn't mean anything. And these kind of grips were on a number of the bikes, so I think it's just the grips that the guy liked. Does anyone here know Garry Fisher enough to know, would the head tube badge help out with what era this is, if this is actually a Trek or a, so there you go. You could see the hand on the fork. So if any Garry Fisher knowledgeable people know. Yeah, from what I learned from a couple websites, I was thinking this was a cheap Trek, but maybe it's not. This also has weird shaped tubing. I don't know if you won't be able to see it, but the oval tubing changes shape to being profiled where it connects to the head tube, which is something that I have never seen. I'm going to hit some of these parts with WD-40 while we're talking about it so they're not too seized up when I try to mess around with it. Again, this is not my knowledge base. That's why I made that thumbnail and made that title, hoping, I know some of you people who are regular here, Pudgy, and already know a bunch of this stuff. But yeah, that was also the goal, hoping some people would jump in who would be able to help identify, because that's, well, one, it's just fun. And I can only read really poor websites for so long. I can't remember, Jay Dandy, what year is your hybrid Fisher? Oh, that's a Specialized. That blue bottle cage is kind of cool. Whoa, it's gonna fall. What were you guys saying? Oh, is that a, oh, it is a quill stem, so 2000 wouldn't make a lot of sense, would it? Maybe we got a serial number on this guy. Make this chat bigger so I can read it. So Ed says pre-Trek. Well, this is interesting because I was kind of thinking this was kind of just a really cheap bike from what I read. But let's see if we could see any kind of... There is a number. Let's see if any of them sound like years with a letter. This one says GS92 and then followed by 1208. So, wonder if there's any chance this is actually a 1992 is what I need to be searching for. Did someone start that Know Your Bike website just so they could rip people off on bicycles? I have something around here to usually keep rags around here to wipe my hands on. Yeah. How much rust? Oh, this is just dust. It's not rust. little bit of surface rust, but that's nothing big. Well, if this is that old, this one's not going to Eric, no offense. Eric's a channel member too. He's not really in, he used to ride bikes around just to ride bikes, but I'm definitely going to build one of these bikes up for him, the taller end ones. But if this is a pre-Trek Garry Fisher, then this might get a more interesting build. Oh, look at this. Your one-stop bike shop, B&L Bike Shop, Davis, California. We need to see if they still exist. B&L Davis, California. That's just the chat. They do. Web 1.0 website's pretty cool. Yeah, nice. A bike shop with 2 women mechanics. Hell yeah. I mean, they could have more, but they have 2 in one picture. That's not exactly something you see every day. Oh yeah, it's a 92 what I said, so... I love when this stuff works, or is enlightening. It's the best thing about this live stream. Well, and all the friends we made. What year did I say, Pudgy? There it is. See, this know your bike is what showed up, and that's probably what threw me off then. None of those look like it. It's a pretty straight tube, huh? Oh wait, I lost some of you guys. Oh, Jay Dandy, your bike's 96. Let me look back. I want to read back to the chat for a second. I just couldn't, yeah, I couldn't remember. Your Garry Fisher's a 96. With the quill stem, pre-97, Chris would guess with the quill stem. Have a good night, Bicycle Dad, if I didn't already miss you. Ed Sassler says it's pre-Garry Fisher Evolution headset, so 94 before. What's up, Mike? Yeah, old bikes are the easiest to maintain. Hey, Dimitri. Yeah, Dimitri, we're going through all the bikes and parts that I just picked up. Is Davis Berkeley? I have no idea. Oh, Mike, you have an old Bridgestone RBT. Nice. Oh, the bike shop was permanently closed, Dr. Bond. That's what you guys are telling me. I didn't read it. Sorry. Davis is near Sacramento, probably 150 miles east of Berkeley. What's up, Brad Z? We should, just because this channel does have a little maps thing. Might as well know where it came from, because that's... Oh, yeah. Right by Sacramento. Still cool. That's one of those things that's like, I like old books too. But like the little stickers on bikes and like the little like bike tags and like old bike shops, I always like try and look them up. I always find that like fascinating. So Pudgy said, oh, it's a 99, get you with old parts. So it is the cheap bike we were thinking of, huh? Oh, whoops, don't have the internet up. Yeah, that one doesn't have it. See, this is the site I found. Again, why is this not on the screen? All right. Yeah, this is the site I originally found that was basically saying, so this site says it was available in metallic green, was released in 2000 and cost $289. But what about, they would put a quill stem on a bike? Is that because it was cheap, they were still putting a quill stem on a bike that was past that era? You had focus, why'd you take it away from me? So, give a little close-ups of everything, but try not to make you guys sick while I do it. Try to keep these pans smooth. This is not a video tripod. It's a very vintage French tripod. Yeah, just in a... Okay, so Large said looks like the 2000. Let's see. Oh, Large has got a link for us. Okay, so. Oh yeah, Monolake. Yeah, Garry Fisher for sure. That's what I was thinking, Ed. That they do. I know they do still put quill stems on cheap bikes, and that's what I think we have going on here. Instead of it meaning that it's a vintage bike, it means that it's a cheaper bike. In the year 2000. Let's see. That's not quite it. Oh, I don't have the web up there. Sorry, guys. Which one is this? I didn't see it. Is this the bike that they base all Walmart bikes on then for the next 20 years? Where is it? Huh. I hid the chat somewhere. Give me a second. For the record, I have 2 monitors and about 1,000 windows open, so. All right. Oh, did I pass it large? I didn't see it. Do you know what number it is on that little catalog thing? These all have these like 3D logos. This one doesn't even have. Is this it? Do they have the name? Oh no, Sajara, Marlin, Wahoo, Mamba. Oh, there it is. Oh, gotcha. I was looking at the one on this side. Oh, now my face is over it. So, let's see what they say here. I can't read from back there. Plain gauge chromoly steel, Shimano Acera, rear derailleur, Altus front derailleur, and crank, easy fire, 8-speed shifters, linear pull brakes. Yeah. Oh, so that is the original. That is the original stem for sure. So, all right, mystery solved. What I kind of thought originally, then we got excited because someone put better parts on it. Well, you know. Austin said you found a 95 Garry Fisher Aquila out on the curb with the trash last year. Nice. Jay Dandy. Oh, thanks, Matt. You were giving me all the info, but I was already beyond it. So let's grab the last bike, which is the mystery bike. Same thing. I don't think there's a ton of value on that one, but it's obviously got a. I'm actually kind of stoked on the stem and bars because I think I'll put it on this when I build it up for my buddy Eric because it's like super tall, but. I did not take the rack off this one yet. Well, the stem wouldn't be out this far when you see it. It's just stuck. But this one I definitely feel has a respray or is just a cheaper bike. Sun Tour front derailleur. Again, not that that means anything as we just found out. Shimano SLR cantilevers. Yeah, no idea if there's anything here that's a respray. I was looking at these bottom stays, which are kind of interesting because really early, let me see if I could get an angle here without everything falling and hitting me. But early Specialized utilized that shape as well. I doubt that's what we have here, but so this is like a lug right here. Let's see if I can get this. It's lugged right here. It's a weird two-part construction, which I figured would give away what this bike is, but I'm just wondering if it's just something old and random or if there is something here. Again, it still seems like a bike that you could just build right up and someone could ride who just wants to have a bike if it's not anything special. But I want to show you guys this because like I said, I think it's, besides those stays would be the defining feature that would mean if this is something or not. So. then, yeah, like I was saying. All the tape on here still is this one I didn't have a chance to clean up, so that's just from them being packed up. Oh, you were doing so good, autofocus. Oh, there you go. So, yeah, and then that bridge for the brakes, kind of another thing that would be noticeable. But I'll grab this too. Let's see, where are you guys? Okay. Recreational hardtails, are we calling gravel bikes now? Nice. Master of Disaster, you said you're not going to be able to get your Kona. Yeah, anyone with suggestions, go for it. What's comparable to the Sutra, but yeah, I think you're right. Respray Pudgy. This one does not look like that. Looks like it definitely has the rattle can look. Someone did a decent job when they did it with the like fades and stuff. But yeah, I don't think this would be an original paint bike. Let's see if this one has any kind of indicating. I think these bars are going to fall off when I flip it over, but any kind of indicating serial number. Some real cheap bikes, they didn't etch the serial numbers in, so I always feel like it's at least a good sign when they've done that. Oh, it does. It does have a serial number at least. R4H0240. So 02 would be the only thing that might be an indication of a year, which this has a Shimano STX headset. Again, can't judge it by components. No idea if the fork would be original. I did look, the dropouts don't have any markings either, which, what, 8 times, 7.5 times out of 10 means it's not anything decent, but they are not just cheap sheet metal. They're at least, they're forged, so. Let's see what the quick release. It's an off-brand, but yeah. Overall, obviously, a great haul, even with a couple of the bikes being less interesting, if they indeed are. Well, that's not good. To be determined on this one. We got face. Matt said, seat stays look interesting near the bottom bracket. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I think that's going to be like the defining quality, and then this weird, how the down tube is lugged, or the seat tube is actually lugged in, but then it's welded everywhere else is kind of an interesting, like, 2-part construction to this bike, which could mean cheap, could mean interesting, I'm not sure. Oh, double down tube cage mount. Yeah. Yeah, what is that? There's only one. There's a bolt here, but it's not a, there's not a second one. Someone said maybe Nishiki. Did someone think, this is not an 80s Ibis, right? Reliable Waste said, have a peek at Amigo Frameworks. You're building up a bug out now. Nice. Peruvian, is that what you think this bike is? Is it a late 80s hard rock? Yeah, this definitely doesn't look like an O2. I would not guess that either. But again, unless it's really cheap and it's cheap construction. But it also doesn't feel like a boat anchor. Like a bike like this, if it was that cheap, I feel like would be really, really heavy. So why don't we do that on there? Come on, come on. Oh, I have it. I have the autofocus set for bikes. Nothing came up searching the number. What was Let's see if anyone shows what those stays would look like. Would anyone have that angle? No. No. Monolink thinks this is a lower end Japanese bike from the late 80s. Like I said, I'll drop, well, everything we showed, but especially this one, because I do want to figure out like the exact what the specialized too. But I'll drop some actual photos in the Discord, and then on a close up, maybe we could nail down what this is. So it looks like it's made for touring. Yeah, possibly cantilevers. Does have the mount here, so yeah, pack one. Yeah. Are the C-tube lugs anything special? No, that's what's interesting. It's so, oh, the camera's not on there anymore. It's welded here and here to this lug, and then the C, which is very plain, it's just a circle, and then the C-tube goes down and is lugged into the bottom bracket, but then it's welded again in the front of the bike, which I'm saying could mean like really cheap or just something a little different. I've never actually seen that kind of construction, so. Keep the bike a little bit in the frame, how's that? Yeah. This is like a single speed bike for Boston Boy? This might be the way to go, yeah. Plus, I guess the other thing about making the Garry Fisher his bike, even though it's not a nice Garry Fisher, this having no logos and like looking like a respray might be less attractive to thieves. So, see if that, yeah, there we go. Oh, I want to look up the bike that someone just said they ordered, because I'm not familiar with it. Bug out, frame and fork. Nice.
Heavy_B Diesel subscribed to the channel.
Thanks, B Diesel. Oh yeah, that's rad. Yeah, I was totally unfamiliar with this brand. Of course, Dylan knew him. Nashville, Tennessee, huh? Interesting. $700 by $50 clearance, nice. Yeah, that's Pudgy. That's always a big deal to me too. Like the fact that so a bike like this might be was probably nicer than the Garry Fisher, uh, but wouldn't look as nice as the Garry Fisher to a passerby. But bike thieves are, it's more opportunist than not. But you never know. Any little bit to try and.
Tom Randazzo subscribed to the channel.
Cleaning up my tabs so I could actually find stuff again. Dylan said there was a detailed review of the bug out on the Radivis recently. Oh, I missed that one. I've been reading that more and more since you guys have talked about it. Now I get the, somehow ended up on their email list, so. Oh, drink picks wise. Blackball said, this stuff is gross, but I drink it. It's a dry January thing. Jarlsberg 0.0, huh. I was just watching, you guys know he changed his YouTube channel name. Stoked on Spokes, changed it to just his regular name. He just put out a video today about doing dry January and how much he's actually liked it. I obviously I've been attempting to cut back since October, wary. Pudgy, you missed it because you don't read the Radivist? No. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of new bike brands, and I think that's an awesome thing, that small stuff is back, just like my opinion on having local restaurants and breweries and any kind of shop, but Dylan has to read the Radivist because he's not on social media. How would you know what's going on? It's probably better that you just read actual good articles on stuff instead of look at like pictures for 2 seconds like the rest of us. I only speak for myself, not the rest of us. But I'll try your pickles, Pudgy. Weird thing to say, but I think there's a good pile of 26-inch tires I don't need. I don't know if any would be worth the cost to ship them to Canada. That's the problem, So, because yeah, I mean, a lot of the ones that came with these bikes are too worn to be worth it, and some of the extra ones I think he might have put in there just as like packaging to keep the bikes steady because they are really, really worn. I have a couple sets that used to be on my Trek. I'd probably put those on whatever I build up for my buddy Eric. But there's definitely something here that you'd be welcome to that would roll for a while. I just don't think I mean, it would cost more to ship them than it would for you to go into your local bike shop and get the cheapest 26-inch tires. It might be, but I don't think anyone took you as a hater, Pudgy. I took that as like an honest, you haven't read the Radavist. Just like, it's like when someone is like, ask me about a band that I know their name, but I've never listened to them. I'm like, no, I've never listened to them. It's like, that's not a bad thing. I have no opinion because I've never listened to it, but yeah. Yeah, anyone, so you know, since tonight we've been looking at like stuff that I gathered, a lot of nights, like, so I know a couple people just jumped new in the Discord and we've dropped the link to the Discord. If you post pictures in the bike chat or the bike page, a lot of times, then we'll show those photos up on the stream. Oh, we should look at one more box of parts to see if there's, whoops, don't want to knock that thing off there. See if there's anything else interesting in the little boxes before we move on. Before I go to bed is not move on, but oh, wheels. Wheels wise, there were more sets, like I said, than there were bikes, but a couple of them look like the rims, the brake tracks were nearly concave, so I think they might be too worn, but I'll look, Dimitri. Again, I think it might run into the same problem. Any 26-inch wheels I part with would be so cheap that it might not be worth the shipping cost. But remind me of that on the Discord or Instagram or wherever, and I'll let you know. I could check. I will guarantee I won't remember, not because of you, but because of me. But if you remind me, I'll check and see if there's anything, and then we could see what shipping costs. But I don't think there's anything nice enough that would justify the shipping cost. Philly Bike Reliable said, Philly Bike Expo pics have been your favorite bike porn lately. Always cool to see what the small builders are up to. Same, yeah. And that's why I like stuff like Radavist, you know, to go and like look at their galleries with like high quality photo stuff. So, you know. Pudgy trying to sell this bike so hard to get his Florida man. Yeah, what you're saying, Pudgy, you have one social media in limited time, but once in a while I actually get myself to read stuff. I go in phases with like reading like crazy and then stopping. I think I've talked about that before. What do we got here? Oh, this is another set of Diacomp cantilevers. So let's see. If anyone needs some cantilever brakes shipped to them, I've got you covered. Some new cables. Oh, these were all I put them in this glass. This is a whole jar of crank bolts and crank bolt covers, which I'll need. And then, oh, here are those pulley wheels we were talking about. Let's see. I believe these are them. Someone mentioned the aluminum. All right, pulled up that little tag. So these must be those aluminum pulley wheels. If you want those for the that XT derailleur, Pudgy. Oh yeah, little cassette rings and stuff like that. Just all kinds of little. Is that the British who say bits and bobs in this box? Yeah, even some cassette lock rings. But oh yeah, there's the other pulley wheel. So yeah. That's kind of cool for sure. Sealed bearing pulling wheels. Trying to read it in the light, but yeah. See if I could grab this other box. Oh yeah, this is one I looked at briefly earlier before, but it's the one with the new Shimano front derailleur. I think there's a bottom bracket in here. Yep. Let's see what It just says Shimano bottom bracket, but it has a model number on the tag, so. Sealed cartridge bottom bracket. That's just the kind of stuff that's for square tapered and vintage bikes nice to have, so. Brand new 9-speed chain. This is definitely something I will keep and use, as I have so many 9-speed bikes. The Sun Tour shifter. Let's see. Here's a Deore XT headset. In the box. Nice. You out, Dylan? See you later, man. No, there's no campy in here. This is all 90s mountain bike stuff. I do have some vintage campy stuff that has come off other builds. Put some of it on my single speed, but. Oh, I thought the bike nerds. Yeah, you do need to get up here. I thought the bike nerds would appreciate a vintage park tool as well. I think these are perfect. This would be for pedals, right? Because it's well, they're not getting focused now. Come on, yeah. Let's see, 9/16 and 15 millimeters. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know how vintage, but it's definitely an old park tool, which is sweet. And I don't have one of these, so it's a great addition. Some more none of the little thing of bolts and stuff like that. So, let's see. There's a group of Olivio levers in here. So, seat clamp stuff. Here's some Shimano shifters. Are these some? I think these are some cheaper old rapid fire shifters. So. Yeah, these ones don't have the number. They don't have the number indicators like them, unlike the old rapid fires that I usually have, but these are STM008s, so I'll at least be able to figure out the speeds by that. Oh, and then some bits for some V-brakes. So, yeah, well, V-brake stuff, but more quick releases, so seat clamps, but just all kinds of little things that people who, like me, mess around with vintage bikes all the time will get some use out of, so. Oh, chain tool. Nice little chain tool. Oh, here's the cassette that goes with those other little bits I was seeing earlier, the lock rings and stuff. Yeah, not a bad haul. I mean, obviously, whoops. There. Well, deal with that tomorrow. Nice little bits of stuff to go through. Some cool frames to build up for people. Make something out of. But yeah, glad that it's not going to rot in that guy's old roommate's basement. That we could get it out and get it to people to actually do stuff with. That's always one of those things. I was a big fan if you guys ever watched American Pickers, and that's always what they're saying. Yeah. A lot of times I feel like it's saving stuff that's worthwhile from landfills. People commented on the last video, bike rescue, and it's like exactly so. Yeah, I have a number of now bar ends, and then like I said, all these derailleurs. And oh, Ed, you said you've lost 3 of those pedal wrenches from the TSA. Really? I guess they do have some. Yeah, you could do some damage with this guy for sure. I've never flown with my bike yet or bike stuff, so I haven't had to deal with it. How did I miss? Jay Dandy, you said you're not a fan of the trigger shifters? Man, I got to say on my 2001 Trek, like the back one is still going strong, and I love it because it's so quick. I mean, I feel like it works as fast as anything modern. Like, but just depends probably on the level of the ones you get and stuff. But like I've replaced the front one with a bar end. It stopped working. I think it's sitting right here. Yeah, but. Well, it works. I just have to clean it constantly to keep it working, which is annoying. So I have to take it apart, clean it out, re-grease it. But the rear one, I've opened that one up twice on what, a 22-year-old bike that I ride in the winter now. And so I'm a fan. But again, there's, as you can see, however many generations and levels of all that kind of stuff. So. Eduardo, so it's funny, I haven't had TV since I moved here to the studio. I don't know, who knows, some of you guys know. I'm in the basement of my photography studio that I own and live at, and so the bike workshop is down here. But I moved here six years ago. I've never hooked up regular TV here, and I didn't even have a TV for a while because moved here breaking up with a girlfriend who watched a lot of TV, and I was over it. But now I just watch YouTube. I just realized that like American Pickers, all their like little clips are on YouTube. And so now on my recommended page, like say I'm like, oh, I'm going to sit down and eat lunch and I've already watched all the bike videos I'm going to watch today. I'll just click through a couple clips of American Pickers. Like they're great because they are like 3 to 5 minutes. Just, just be on like one little thing. And you don't have to wait like how they like to do it on the TV show till something's at the beginning of the episode, but you don't get to know what happens till the end. So it's just these little bits of American Pickers that I've jumped back into. So I need to darken this. It's too bright. I want to be all, so. Did the American Pickers pass away? I think they still make them new. I have no idea, like I don't have cable, so I wouldn't know. But the one guy's not on it anymore, Frank. It's just Mike and his friends now. What's TV? Yeah, Pudgy doesn't even have a computer, so. Poor man, I don't have any fat bikes. I'm not against them. I've ridden fat bikes that my friends have, but I have studded tires on that vintage Trek I was just talking about. That's my snow bike, and everything else I just underbike it. Frank, I read about it because I was curious why Frank wasn't on the episodes that are the little clips that were popping up. Frank went into alcohol rehabilitation, and when he got out, Mike did not invite him back on the show. So Mike and Frank, if you don't know, weren't real business partners. Like Mike owned that antique archaeology thing. When he got the TV show with Discovery, or History, I mean, Frank was a friend of his, so he had Frank come on. But I guess Mike has always been the one who has been able to control that show. So some real nerd stuff there. But also, one of the things I always liked about American Pickers is Mike is a huge bike nerd, but for super old stuff, pre-World War II stuff is his like bike knowledge. So I've always tried to watch that and pick up on it. But not stuff I collect. We do know a guy here in Akron who collects true vintage bike stuff, and I actually did a photography show that was like it's the only photography show I've ever done, because I'm a commercial photographer, of all bike stuff. And then in the center of the show, so all my photos were on the walls of like me and Large and Otis and Aaron and whatever, and Funny Brad. And then the center was all true vintage bikes that this guy collects. So it was kind of a cool thing. Pre-pandemic, so pre the YouTube channel being like super bike focused. Would have been cool to have a bunch of you guys out if that was the case, but. Eduardo said you haven't had regular TV in 10 years. Yeah, I finally bought myself a smart TV because I love professional bike racing. That was like the main reason. And so I do a 2-monitor setup while I edit in the mornings. And so I was always like, I like to have all my tools on one screen and then like whatever, the photo I'm editing or the video I'm editing on the other. And when bike racing was on, then I'm like compressing my editing space so I could watch the bike races. And that's why I finally broke down and bought a smart TV, so I could just have like a separate thing that like while I'm working have bike racing on. So, but they got so cheap. 4K smart TVs got so cheap. Like mine's it's still, now it's been a few years since I bought it. It's still great. Like, it's like, mine's an Amazon TV. So I'm just like, open up GCN Plus, play the Tour de France, you know. I've always said you're old and rigid. It's like my mountain bikes, especially after hearing those rummaging through the parts boxes sounds. Nice. Muskrat Mike can really climb over shit very well. Frank's not dead. Master Disaster, Frank's not dead. Oh, Ed said, your bike shop inherited a room full of antique bikes. What a disaster. No two bikes use the same parts. Yeah. I guess what? Would it be the 60s where there was kind of like the English standard, French standard? There's some Swiss stuff, then Italian stuff, but kind of around then stuff started, I think 60s, right? Stuff started to like get their standards, and then early 80s, the mid 80s, kind of everything went to like, for the most part, English stuff. So, yeah, but before that, even Schwinn, Schwinn was like the Kodak of bikes where they made their own standards, and I could imagine that. Eduardo asked, am I watching the Volta San Juan? Yeah, so it's crazy because I'm not used to bike stuff being on in our normal time zone. So today's stage, I watched the beginning, but then I went for a bike ride. So there was still like 60K left. So I'll watch the short highlights probably in the morning, or the short highlights of the end in the morning. But yeah, I watched a lot of the replays. The first race, Tour of Australia that finally came back. But my favorite is the Spring Classics. That's what I'm looking for. Those are coming up. But I'll follow along with everything that happens all year long. But yeah, the Spring Monuments and the Spring Classics, even the Minor Classics, I absolutely love. Paris-Roubaix, Tour of Flanders, those are my favorite, you know. Ed said in the late 60s, Campy set the standards. But Italian bottom brackets, right, stayed different from the French and the English all the way into the 80s, right? Oh, Reliable Waste. At Volta San Juan, like I do watch it, but it's not a big deal to me. So the spoiler alert doesn't bother me. But like I would not get on, like during the tour or during like Spring Classics, I would not get on a stream without having already watched the highlights. So. Oh, Ed, you're talking about early 1900s, the first safety bikes. that's some valuable stuff, yeah. Oh, Ed says Campy made English, Italian, and French bottom brackets. That's true, because I do have an English Campy bottom bracket. I wasn't thinking about that. Where is that? I think it's right here. Yeah. Huh. It's funny I forgot that because this is literally a English threaded Campagnolo bottom bracket. And I think it's because I have this because I have a Campy group set on my French look, my early carbon look, and this is not the one I needed, and I believe that's why I have this. And this came with the group set, but I had to get the French style one, or maybe the French one is already English by that era. I can't remember. I actually emailed some look experts about it because I couldn't find the information. It's a KG76 for any lugged carbon bike nerds out there. So I heard that. I was watching, I don't know if you guys who like racing, the guy who just retired, the English time trial specialist who just retired, has a good YouTube channel. Rode for Israel Premier Tech last year. Come on. Hemophiliac, held the hour record. Could think of every single thing about this guy except Alex Dowsett. Dowsett just rode with one of his friends who races gravel now, and he was saying that about campy stuff. He was just saying that no matter what happens and no matter what people say about campy, like he was like the wheels like have never failed him. He was like the bearings never fail him. It's still just when it comes to like quality over period of time, it's still the best manufactured stuff there is. Eduardo, what bike brand would have French style bottom brackets? Everything before like 82. Peugeot, one of my other French bikes, Jeton, all of them. All the French bikes had French standards. The stem sizes and seat tube sizes are different too. So yeah, vintage French bikes are really frustrating to modernize if you want to modernize one. And they also, the derailleur hangers on vintage French bikes for Simplex, there's no threads. So it's the same size hole. So on like my Jeton Tour de France, we tapped it out to put the threads in. But so yeah, vintage French bikes, like 70s especially, like pretty much everything is different. Yeah. I'm kind of a Francophile, so that's, I have two old Peugeots, a Jeton, a Look, and that's like the stuff that like when I was really getting into vintage cycling that I like the most. But then I realized if you're keeping stuff original, it's not a big deal, but if you want to do like neo-retro stuff, it's a real pain in the ass, so. Yeah, Vitus says the tubing, yeah. Well, they made bikes too, but I don't know if they actually made the bikes, but they were the French tubes, yeah, like the nice high-end tubes. Matt Ford got Alex Dowsett when I finally thought. Yeah, 82 would be a mix, so that's when they were switching up. So, Motobecon would be another one. Motobecons were all French standard stuff. Problem with Motobecons, sometimes they used the Swiss style bottom bracket, which instead of being reversed from the normal, and it's not different thread pitch, it's just reversed. And then the Swiss, I think, is one of each. So it's threaded in one way here and one way here. I haven't messed with this stuff for a while now, and I have all my bikes set with bottom brackets, so don't quote me on this. But there is a Swiss style that Motobecon used. And who's the other big Swiss bike company? A couple of different brands from outside of France used the Swiss standard, which was another annoying thing. And there's no way to know. So if you get an old like Motobacan and you're trying to pull out the bottom bracket, you could be turning the wrong way and you're like, oh, it's stuck. You know, and you don't know if it is stuck. You don't know which way to really apply the pressure. So, thanks, Dimitri. Have a good night. Motor beer can. Yeah, Motobacans are. That's my first vintage bike. It was my dad's, and I fixed it up, his old Motobacan, and that's when I realized, like, oh wow, like you cannot figure out what these things are. So. But yeah, so yeah, you said 82. That's like 82, 83, 84 is when I think the French brands finally started to switch to the English standards, and then none of them really lived on as true French brands that much longer after that anyways. Not many, except Peugeot maybe for a while. All right, how late is it? Did it get late? Oh, it's 11:06? Hell yeah, let's wrap this up. But yeah, it was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, it's fun to look at old stuff, no matter what it is for me. So, and then I always learn something from everything we do and all the knowledge I can gain from you guys. So, I'm going to say today's Tuesday, 70% chance of streaming at this time on Thursday. We'll do that. And, we're supposed to get a big snowstorm on Wednesday and then a temperature drop. So most likely we'll be streaming because I won't be out riding that late, but we'll see. Oh, that's another reliable way, Lapierre. Yeah. Nice. All right, guys. And then as always, like we've said, keep the conversation going in the Discord. Drop any photos you want to drop over there, any questions you have, anything you're trying to sell to some people that are a little more smaller group and trusted. And yeah. Take her easy.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is not
Fitzwater photo.